What if I told you that there's this one framework that I've followed to look like this all year round while working 12-hour days and barely leaving my office? And it's the exact same framework I've taught to hundreds of entrepreneurs to help them build high-performing physiques while scaling 7, 8, and 9-figure businesses. And the best part, anyone can use this strategy to build a Greek god physique with less time, less training, and way less friction. So in the next 18 minutes, I'll walk you through the exact framework that lets you stay lean year-round and build muscle efficiently without sacrificing your mental performance. If you take a look at how elite athletes and millionaire or billionaire founders behave, you will notice that they all enjoy challenging themselves and take a lot of risks. You've probably heard the quote, "No risk, no reward." It's because these people have been able to tap into the part of their body that quietly controls everything from your body fat to your focus to how hard you want to work every day, your testosterone. Because testosterone is the hormone that makes your brain enjoy hard work and challenges. You see, getting lean and staying lean while building your business has very little to do with spending hours in the gym and just eating enough protein. Because while lifting weights, sleeping well, and eating clean are the main things you need to do, when you're building a 7, 8, or 9-figure company and you're time poor, the traditional fitness advice just doesn't apply. You don't need to do everything, you just need to focus on the few things that actually move the needle forward. So what you need to do in order to build a lean physique and stay lean year-round while performing at your maximum capacity in the business is implement what I call hormonal mastery. And if you do it properly, it will optimize your hormone levels so that your body becomes a fat-burning and muscle-building machine. You first of all need to start from your body's internal operating system, your circadian clock. You need to think of your circadian clock like the conductor of a symphony. Every process in your body, testosterone release, growth hormone, fat burning, dopamine, cortisol, is like an instrument in that orchestra. But those instruments don't just play on their own. They follow signals to know when to turn on. And there are 3 cues that matter the most: when you wake up and when you go to sleep, when you eat your meals, and when you exercise. These are the timestamps that your brain uses to sync your entire internal rhythm. If they're consistent, your hormones, energy, recovery, and metabolism start running like clockwork. But when you go to bed and wake up at random times every day, work out, or eat your meals at random times every day, like the average entrepreneur, you wake up feeling tired, have low energy throughout the day, feel hungry most of the time, you store more fat, and perform like crap both mentally and physically. So if you want your body to automatically start burning fat, building muscle, and producing the right hormones and chemicals at the right time, you just need to send the right signals at the right time consistently. Because your circadian clock doesn't listen to motivation, it listens to rhythm and patterns. What you need to do is find a sleep schedule you can follow for 80 to 90% of the time and go to bed and wake up at that same time daily. Secondly, find a time in your day that you can work out at, schedule it in your calendar, and work out at the same time every single day. And third, eat your meals at the same times every day. And once you do these 3 things consistently, your body starts to predict exactly when to turn on fat burning, when to spike testosterone, and when to trigger dip recovery. You'll start waking up feeling recovered, you'll be able to train with more intensity even if the sessions are short, and your energy will stay high throughout the whole entire workday. But now we need to go one layer deeper, because even if you lock in your circadian rhythm, there's still one critical phase of sleep that most people never get enough of. And if you're not getting enough of this one phase, it doesn't matter if you're sleeping 8 hours a night, your brain still feels foggy, your body never fully recovers, and you can't truly build as much muscle. And it's all simply because your testosterone is literally being produced while you are in that critical phase of sleep, which means that when you get less of it, your body produces less testosterone, which makes you build less muscle, store more fat, and have lower energy. I'm talking about REM sleep, and specifically how to structure your routine to maximize your REM sleep. REM is when your brain consolidates memory, emotional regulation, and nervous system reset. But more importantly, it's when you produce the highest amount of testosterone across your entire 24-hour day. But the problem is that REM sleep is really difficult to acquire. And most entrepreneurs do 4 critical mistakes that literally destroy your ability to get enough REM sleep. The first mistake is being exposed to bright overhead light until right before bed. You see, your brain uses light as a signal to determine what time of the day it is. And bright overhead light specifically tell your brain that it's daytime and that it should stay alert. Because viewing bright overhead lights blocks the production of your brain's sleep hormone melatonin, which means it takes longer to fall asleep, and even worse, you get less REM sleep. So what you need to do instead is around 3 hours before you go to bed, remove all bright overhead lights, replace them with low, warm, and dim lights that are below eye level. And when you do this, it signals to your brain that it's time to get ready for deep recovery. Now, the second mistake is not sleeping in a cold bedroom. Your body has to drop its core temperature by about 1 degree Celsius to enter deep, high-quality sleep. But what's even more important is that REM sleep in particular is very temperature sensitive, because when you're in REM sleep, your body shuts down almost all of its temperature regulating functions, which means that when your room is too warm or your blankets are too thick, your body can't cool down fast enough, and as a result, you're not able to get enough REM sleep, which causes you to, even if you get 8 hours of sleep, you still wake up feeling groggy, inflamed, and under-recovered. The fix for this is simple. First, keep your bedroom temperature between 16 and 19 degrees Celsius, and second, use breathable sheets like cotton or linen. The third problem is not blocking noise disturbances properly, or simply not sleeping in a silent room. Even if you're not fully waking up from noise, your brain is, because when you're in REM sleep, your brain still registers and processes external noises, which causes you to have micro awakenings every time there's noise, which kicks you out of REM and into lighter stages of sleep. And the crazy part is that even if you don't remember being awake, your sleep quality is significantly worse, and more importantly, your testosterone production will be lower. The way you fix it, however, is by wearing earplugs or using a white noise machine to mask external noise disturbances. Now, the fourth mistake and the more common one is not sleeping in a pitch dark room. Light, even in a small amount, can suppress melatonin production by over 50%, because light can easily penetrate our eyelids even if they're shut. So if there are city lights coming in from your window, lights from your hallway, or any other type of light, because you may sleep with your partner, your sleep becomes more shallow and fragmented, and as a result, your hormone production weakens. So the way you fix that is by either using blackout curtains or simply wearing an eye mask when you go to bed. But what if I told you that there's another powerful tactic that can supercharge your energy, recovery, hormone production, and gym performance in a single night? You've probably seen neuroscientists like Andrew Huberman talk about it, and health experts like Brian Johnson be obsessed about this one tactic. It's because if done properly, it can enhance your sleep quality, energy levels, metabolism, and gym performance better than any supplement you can take. I'm talking about reverse intermittent fasting. Reverse intermittent fasting means that instead of skipping breakfast and delaying your first meal of the day, you skip dinner and have your last meal of the day early. You see, when you eat a meal, it takes about 3 to 6 hours for that meal to be fully digested. So when you eat your food like most entrepreneurs, 1 to 2 hours before bed, it means that your body is still digesting food while you're trying to sleep. This is destructive for your sleep quality, hormone production, and recovery. Because when you eat a meal close to bedtime, digestion becomes your body's primary task, not recovery. And most importantly, your nervous system stays in sympathetic mode, meaning stress mode, instead of flipping into parasympathetic, which is rest, repair, and hormone optimization mode. And this is a huge problem because you don't just recover in your sleep. You actually build and repair. REM sleep, deep sleep, growth hormone, testosterone, all of that happens after digestion is complete. So when you eat right before bed, you block your body from doing the things that it's supposed to do while you're sleeping. Repair muscle, burn fat, produce testosterone, and clear brain fog. But when you reverse this process, meaning when you finish your last meal of the day at least 3 to 6 hours before bed, your body finishes all digestion before you fall asleep. This will allow your heart rate to drop enough before you enter sleep, and the lower your heart rate is before bed, the faster you'll hit deep recovery, you'll get longer REM sleep windows, and you produce significantly more testosterone overnight. That's why this simple shift, just moving your dinner earlier, can supercharge everything else we've talked about so far. But there's a problem with eating dinner that early. You'll probably be starving and won't be able to fall asleep. That's why skipping dinner won't work unless you do the next step properly, because there's actually a powerful way to eliminate cravings, stabilize your blood sugar, and improve your hormonal response without changing your macros. Most people focus on what they eat, but what's more important, especially if you want a six-pack without spending your life in the gym, is what your body actually does with the food that you eat. You might think that if you want to lose fat and get lean, all you need is to be in a caloric deficit, and that's true, but not entirely. You see, when you eat food, your hormones are the ones that decide where that food is going to go and whether that food will be used for instant energy, muscle building, or simply fat storage. And the main hormone that controls this is insulin. Insulin is like your body's fuel traffic controller. It decides whether nutrients should go to your muscles or locked away in your fat cells. And there's a metric called insulin sensitivity that decides if your body will use the food you're eating for fat or for muscle. If your insulin sensitivity is high, you eat a meal and your body instantly shuttles those nutrients into your muscles, brain, and organs, where they actually get used for fuel. But if your insulin insulin sensitivity is low, which is the case with most entrepreneurs who sit all day, sleep poorly, and eat randomly, then your insulin doesn't respond properly, which means that even clean and healthy meals can spike your blood sugar and send those calories straight to fat storage and make you crash and crave more food a few hours later. And that's how you get stuck in the loop where you eat less, train more, but still feel soft, tired, and foggy. To fix this, you have to sensitize your body to insulin before the food hits your bloodstream. And the easiest way to do this, without changing anything from what you eat, is by priming your digestion with 3 compounds. Number 1 is psyllium husk, a natural fiber that expands with water in your stomach and forms a gel that slows down gastric emptying. You just need to take 5 to 10 grams mixed with water about 10 to 15 minutes before your largest meal. This will slow down the carb absorption and digestion in your body, which as a result will blunt blood sugar spikes and keep your insulin low and steady. The second is apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar temporarily inhibits enzymes that break down starches and carbs. Just 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in your water about 5 to 10 minutes before your meal. A pro tip with this is that you need to make sure that you're drinking from a metal straw in order to prevent damaging your enamel in your teeth. This will help you digest slower, which means glucose will hit your bloodstream slower and your insulin response is minimized and optimized. And number 3 is berberine. Think of it as nature's version of metformin, which is a prescription drug given to type 2 diabetics to help them lower blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. Berberine works in a similar way, but just naturally. Take 300 to 500 milligrams about 30 minutes before your largest meal. What this will do is that it will force your muscles to suck into glucose, which as a result will reduce your fat storage after eating a meal and improve your overall insulin sensitivity. By using these 3 tools, your body starts using food as fuel to recover faster, push harder in the gym, and this will allow you to stay locked in at your desk for 12 hours while staying lean and not crashing midday. But now comes the final piece, because at this point, your hormones are optimized, your sleep is dialed, your meals are working with your body, but how do you actually maintain a six-pack and stay lean all year round without spending hours in the gym? It comes down to a very specific mix that elite athletes, Navy SEALs, and even ultra-productive CEOs quietly rely on to stay in peak shape year-round with much less training time that you would expect. The hybrid training stack. Because here's what most people don't realize. Your body wants to burn fat if you give it the right stimulus. Then that stimulus comes from a mix of strength training and zone 2 cardio in the right doses. Let's break it down. See, you should lift to signal growth, not to burn calories. This means about 2 to 4 sessions a week, 45 to 60 minutes, big compound lifts, high tension, progressive overload. This is what keeps your muscles insulin sensitive. This is what tells your body we need more muscle. So it holds on to more muscle and burns fat instead. And the more lean muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate, which means you're burning more calories around the clock, even when you're sitting at your desk taking calls. The next piece of the puzzle is zone 2 cardio, the fat burning secret weapon that almost nobody uses correctly. Zone 2 is a very specific heart rate range, low enough that you can hold a conversation, but high enough that your body has to burn fat as a fuel source. This is important because zone 2 increases mitochondrial density, aka your cell's ability to produce energy efficiently. And once you implement it properly, you can recover faster between sets, feel more energetic throughout the day, and stay leaner with less effort. And most importantly, it creates a massive compounding effect with everything we've covered so far because it boosts your REM sleep, it increases insulin sensitivity, and it raises your fat burning threshold. So here's the protocol. You do strength training 2 to 4 times a week, and you focus on major lifts, squats, presses, rows, deadlifts, no fluff, just intensity and progression. And for zone 2, you do about 3 sessions per week for about 30 to 40 minutes at a time. Elliptical, incline treadmill, or stationary bike. Ideally fasted or post-meal. You don't need to kill yourself with 90-minute HIIT sessions. You just need to train smarter. And when you stack this protocol on top of everything we've dialed in so far, you'll be able to stay shredded year-round, build real functional strength, and perform like a high-level athlete while still operating your business at a world-class level. So now that your hormones are fully optimized, your sleep is dialed in, and you're building muscle and burning fat with minimal training, let's tackle the last piece of the puzzle that silently sabotages your energy, your physique, and your brain performance, your workspace. Because here's the cold truth most entrepreneurs ignore. You can dial in everything, sleep, nutrition, training, routines, but if you spend 12 hours a day sitting in one position inside a regular office, you're still going to feel foggy, you're still going to store more fat, and you're still going to hit energy crashes at around 2 p.m. That's why this second piece of the puzzle is about scientifically engineering your workspace so that your body stays in motion, your brain stays sharp, and your metabolism never slows down. Because if you look at how the most productive CEOs and creative thinkers design their days, there's one pattern that stands out. Jeff Bezos and Jack Dorsey take walking meetings. And even Steve Jobs was famous for making key decisions on foot. Why? Because they understand one thing that most people don't. Movement fuels cognition. When your body is not moving, your brain and mental performance slows down. But when your body moves, your brain is sharper. And once you install just a few simple tools in your environment, you can burn fat, stay lean, and perform at your peak mentally while you're on calls, writing emails, or doing any money-generating activities behind your computer. Let's start with the most impactful shift you can make to instantly change how your body feels and performs during deep work hours: a standing desk. See, the average entrepreneur spends about 10 to 12 hours a day glued to a chair, and that slows your metabolism down, drains your energy levels, and turns your workday into one long, slow motion shutdown of your physiology. Just switching from sitting to standing can raise your calorie expenditure by 20 to 30%. That's hundreds of extra calories burned without doing any more cardio or cutting any more calories, simply by working in a way that's going to make you more productive. But that's not the only benefit, because standing upright also raises blood flow to the brain, which means more oxygen, more glucose, and more nutrients are being delivered to the organ that literally runs your business. And as a result, your mental clarity sharpens, your reaction time improves, your decision-making speeds up, and your creativity fires back on. It's why you see more and more high-performing CEOs like Sam Ovens or Alex Becker use tools like the standing desk. But what if there was one more tool, a simple and cheap piece of equipment that most elite CEOs are quietly using? One that not only makes you more sharper and more focused at work, but also helps you burn 3 times more fat without even changing anything from your training routine. You've probably seen glimpses of it in content from high-level founders, biohackers, and peak performers. In fact, it's one of my go-to secret tools that allows me to stay lean all year round without even leaving my office all day. But very few people actually understand how powerful it is and how it can completely transform your energy, focus, and physique. It's something as simple as a walking pad. And it might sound too simple to be powerful, but when you use it the right way, it's one of the most effective productivity and fat loss tools you can add to your office. Because here's what most people don't realize. Low intensity movement, like walking slowly while you work, is the most sustainable way to burn calories throughout the day. We're not talking about a sweaty incline treadmill workout. We're talking about 1 to 3 hours a day of slow-paced walking while you're on calls, while you're doing admin work, or even doing deep work. And when you do that, you double or even triple your calorie expenditure without even feeling like you're training. And more importantly, you keep your blood sugar level stable, your insulin sensitivity high, and your brain flooded with oxygen and nutrients. Because walking boosts circulation to the brain and muscles, which means sharper thinking, better mood, and faster recovery from your workouts. That's why this is one of the go-tools for guys like Naval Ravikant, Rob Dyrdek, and founders you've never heard of who quietly run $100 million companies behind the scenes. Because it works and it's super easy to implement. You simply need to get a compact walking pad, one that ideally folds, and place it below your standing desk. Then walk at a slow pace, around 2 to 3 kilometers per hour, for about 1 to 3 hours a day. You can simply use it while you're on calls, you're planning content, you're doing email, or you're doing admin work. And just by adding this simple tool to your setup, you'll stay leaner, sharper, and more focused, all while staying at your desk. If you've implemented everything that we've covered in this video, you now have the tools to stay lean, build muscle, and actually maintain a six-pack, even if you're working 12-hour days, barely leaving your office, and have zero time for long workouts. But if you truly want to take this to the next level and actually make more money while working less by getting more done in less time, eliminating burnout, and building a daily routine that fuels both your body and your business, then check out this next video in the screen where I'll walk you through the exact protocol I've used with top entrepreneurs like Jordan Platten, Thomas Gannett, Matt Shields, and Nathan Nazareth to help them double or triple their output, scale faster, and stay in peak shape all year round.